Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Onward VR Master League. I'm your host, Noman with a 4. I'm joined today by my co-caster and analyst, Xandria. How you doing, Xandria?
Doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Pretty freaking solid. It's the first week of the season, and I am excited. Together, we're going to bring the folks at home the SpaceForce versus Ember game in this Season 8 Week 1 matchup. I'm real excited for this one. Before we get into that, real quick, right off the top, I want to thank our sponsors, VR Cover Pro 2, for sponsoring the league in all the ways that they do. Appreciate you a whole lot, and we appreciate the community and the viewers that are here today. Thank you guys. Apologies for that snafu with the stream start. Didn't get much of a countdown to hang out in, but that is okay. We're getting in. We're getting into this. This season is starting off strong. We had a Blaze Globochem game on Wednesday. That was our little kickoff event. It's a lot of fun. Globochem taking that win. But a fun game to watch, and we're glad you guys have chosen to tune in here to Master League 2 for this matchup. There is another game going on in Master League 1. If you want to check that out, that is Nightfire and Trip. I believe it's the SMC match. So go ahead and set up a multi-Twitch, you know? Why not look at both? But we are going to get into our bans and our picks for today. So, Xandria, let's have a little discussion here. So the ban coming out of SpaceForce is Tanker. And then the ban coming out from the Ember side is Warrantine. So what are your thoughts? I'm gonna defer to you first, and then I'll let you know what I think.
Tanker, I don't see as a very often played map. So you know, it's not unusual to see that. For Ember as Quarantine, you know, that's a really good map for them. So I do see that as a little odd.
Yeah, I mean, statistically speaking, yeah, they do tend to perform the best on it. I wonder if that has shifted since last season. I wonder with some of the roster changes that we've seen from them and from some of the rest of the teams in the league is going to shake up the types of bans that we're going to be seeing across the board this season. So it's hard to defer to the numbers right now. You know, I mean, they're there, and obviously they have the, you know, they lend some credence to what we're seeing, but yeah, it's an interesting ban. And I mean, coming from a guy who adores Quarantine as a map in general, a bit of a bummer that I won't be able to cast on it, but that is a-okay, because we're going to probably one of the most picked maps in Onward as our first map, and that is Bazaar. What a fantastic map Bazaar is. I mean, it's really just the best of every world. You've got your short range, you've got your mid range, right? You've got all of the sort of the CQC and the long lanes. And it's such a diverse map, so many different play styles on it. I'm really excited to see what these guys do on it. It's one of those maps that, like, you know, sort of everybody has to learn, obviously, because it's played so often, but everybody does, you know, wildly different things on it every single time we seem to tune into these matches. So I am excited. What are you looking forward to, not just on Bazaar, but in terms of map choices going forward?
Since Tanker's out, I love Subway. Always a fan of that map. It lends to a lot of really quick plays, and yeah, I'd really like to see some Subway.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you said, you know, Tanker's not an oft-played map, but we've already twice now, just this week in the matchups, have seen Tanker matchups. We did one in the Globochem Blaze game, and I believe there was one in the G-Men Danglers game as well. I think Danglers opting into that choice as their first map, and they did take that in that round, although G-Men did win the series. So I think we'll be seeing stuff like that. Obviously, we won't see Tanker in this matchup, but I think Subway is a very distinct possibility. But we'll see what Ember picks into. I'm feeling like Downfall is going to be their choice. They tend to like the long to mid-range maps, or mid to long maps, and I think that's what we're going to be seeing out of them, but not... you know, it's a toss-up. It's a coin toss. Who knows? All right, so you may just hear the sounds of Onward snap into your ears there. And the reason being is that we do have all 10 members of both teams in the lobby at this point, which means we are getting ready to get underway here. What are your predictions? You know, I hate doing this. I hate putting people on the spot for this, but it's so, yeah, it's good to know. What do you think?
Fun.
Yeah, what do you think we're going to be seeing in this matchup today? Like, what's your score prediction? I mean, I won't make you go too specific, but yeah, I mean, but what's your feelings?
I feel like Ember's going to take it. I can't say for score. It's going to be close. You know, we could see like a overall like a 1-2, you know, kind of a score.
Okay, so you're okay. We're just map scores. Okay, so yeah, well, 2-1 on the map score for the win. So we're not thinking blowout. I mean, it's interesting that you mentioned that. I was in a lobby yesterday with some of the fellas from Ember and a couple from SpaceForce, and you know they were asking me like, "What's your predictions?" So I'm just gonna take my prediction from yesterday. I'm gonna inject it into the cast, pretend like I just came up with it on the spot. I'm thinking it's gonna be 10-7. Ember is gonna be my final score. I don't even know if the math on that works out, but that's what I'm gonna say. Is 10-7 is gonna be the final score of this matchup, going Ember's way. And I can already hear everybody at home. Yeah, you're biased. You're biased. You know what? No. Ember, I will say this, as being part of the Inferno organization, which Ember is a part of, they've been putting in a ton of work. I mean, really, like in the off season, in those slow weeks when people had trouble starting, you know, lobbies or finding comps, Ember was in there. They were scrimming, they were playing, they were having fun, they were practicing. They really didn't let up. So I have a feeling we're going to be seeing a very different Ember, and they've already won their week one. I think it was a challenge. Is this the challenge? This might be the challenge. So I think they won their week one matchup. This is a challenge match with SpaceForce. So I am, you know, I have a feeling we're going to see some stuff out of Ember that we had not seen in the past. Obviously, we didn't have eyes on their first game where they played, I want to say Kingsman. That sounds correct to me. It
is Kingsman, yep.
And they did take that pretty commandingly. So we will see exactly what happens because, my friends, those sweet, sweet sounds of round start have hit my ears, which means we are getting ready to jump into gameplay here in round one, map one, SpaceForce versus Ember. Ember starting off on defense. The Coyote objective is the one we're going to be seeing here in the north. Let's just take a look and see how they set up this defense. I'm always interested. This one is such a tough one to defend. There's just so many angles, and you can get caught out by quick rushes. And I'm wondering if SpaceForce has that kind of speed planned for this map. SpaceForce setting up here across the street. Destructor, Diesel, and Malcriado pushing on this west side. Malcriado already pushed up to southwest corner of the bazaar. And then we've got a two-man squad here with 20 and driver of car pushing up on the east. Like just a little bit of pre-fire coming out from Destructor. Surprised if he finds anybody here with this kind of shooting, but Hoonihab does find C-Max in this cheeky little corner in the east courtyard. Gets him right in the upstairs, and Ember down a man already, but we're seeing the rotation back towards objective, which is something that you definitely want to be doing. As soon as you're losing members, you need to be covering, you know, the openings in the defense that have now been created. Well, not a whole lot of pushing, though. I mean, it's really just been a pretty slow approach here by SpaceForce. Being very methodical. Driver of car making his way up on the east flank. So
maybe that's why everybody is kind of holding off. They're waiting for him to get into position to do whatever he's got planned.
Yeah, it's definitely going to help to be able to come at it from two different angles, right? You never just want to rush. Never want to rush a defense all in, you know, one corridor. Just waiting to get sprayed down. So that could very well be what we're seeing. Seeing some smokes come out. That one got saved by the railing there. Positioned properly now.
Yeah, I don't really see them acting on that smoke, although You have a little bit of movement in the back behind objective
Yeah, JH does find Destructor on his approach there. Diesel looking for the response quickly. Hailfire finds Driver on the east, but Huni catches JH as he comes out. I mean, he's in that same window. He has not moved. Just been sitting there waiting for these picks. And now we're seeing this aggressive push by Slider out into the scaffolding position. He does catch Diesel out, and now it's just a 2v3, but we do have someone close to objective. Malcriado creeping up. Is there going to be somebody watching this angle? I don't think anybody's going to be checking the front of this. Quokka looks out. He doesn't see him. And there's the cap, ladies and gentlemen. SpaceForce grabs themselves 2 points. Nice and quick. Quokka, even after the round, they're not able to find the offense. And a very sneaky play there by Malcriado to grab themselves 2 points right off the bat. Holy cow.
I bet his hands were shaking putting in that code. Ooh.
Yeah, I would not doubt it. That is a ballsy move, and I am surprised. I am genuinely surprised nobody was covering the front side of that. It was a very aggressive, a very aggressive defensive style towards the end there to push out so heavily in the north and in the east. And they do end up getting burned by it, but as we know, it's really not the end of the world. You know, as long as they can rally from this, I feel like Ember still has a shot to keep Bizarre in their corner. It will just come down to what their offensive push here is going to look like. And I genuinely have not really seen them play, so I don't really know what to expect. I don't know if they've sort of dialed in an aggression level that can rival, Danglers or Blaze in terms of speed. But I know they have been, working on this coordination and this strategy. So I am interested to see what their first offensive round is, and I'm also interested to see how SpaceForce handles the defense for the same objective. Again, one of my most favoritist objectives. But we're getting into round 2 of this first map. SpaceForce on a nice little cap. Yeah, I believe that's mirror spawns. We're going to be seeing the offense take the same approach. We'll see if it looks similar to SpaceForce. We're seeing 4 cross there, across the middle. Shockingly, no one from SpaceForce watching that center street for a cross. Destructor's position, usually good for reconnaissance, but they're not going to know where that spawn is. I've not really heard any comms. There is just that one lone member in the north. It's at Quokka on the far north wall. He's not going to run into anybody for quite some time. SpaceForce opting to be as tight as possible on the OBJ. Just Ember waiting to get themselves an early pick. I mean, this is a pretty common strategy amongst the slower offenses, is wait for your defense to make a mistake. Wait for them to do something that'll cost them the man advantage, or at the very least the man tie, and then start making your approach.
Yeah, I know something I need to learn personally is to just sit and be quiet and wait on offense.
It can be tough. You're always feel like you have 6 minutes, but it always feels like you're in the last 30 seconds. I feel like
Absolutely.
I feel like it's a very common problem for players to have. And there's even the most aggressive teams know that there's a time for pause. There's a time for checking to make sure that your teammates are in position or even still alive, for that matter. And it's finding that balance between speed and efficiency that a lot of teams will struggle to find. We'll see if Ember's able to put something together here. They're now starting to push up into this east courtyard. I'm going to leave Quokka alone. I'm sure the second that camera's off of him, he's going to get into an engagement. Hooneyhalf finds Hailfire in that east courtyard. Now JH should be aware of his positioning. See if they're able to get the trade here. Malcriado does find Quokka. on that
Yeah,
north
just
side.
peeked the corner a little too slow and got.
Yeah, one of the troubles of a slow play style is cornering, is finding a way to. I mean, you even if you play slow, peeking a corner, millimeter at a time is dangerous. It gives the defender plenty of time to set up his response or allow him to rush you and catch you off guard. So it's one of those things that I'm not surprised to see it in a lot of games. Half does find C-Max on this same approach, and he is continuing his tear through this east side of the offense. Ember now down to just 2 members, Slider and JH. Still looking to make their approach, and the rest of the defense relatively, really unchanged. Pretty much since map start. If you take a look at the overhead, that's basically the same exact configuration they were in early on, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It has been working so far. We're here in Slider Khan's first-person view, and he's rocking that night vision. Some of these buildings inside of the bazaar can be pretty tough to see inside of, and seen a lot of players opting to use the night vision on day maps, despite the bright discomfort it can bring.
I find it a little interesting that JH is clear on the east wall here, with 2 minutes only remaining. It's
I'm not sure what his approach would be from there. I mean, he does need to find a way to take out Hooney. Slider finds Diesel on the inside of the bazaar, and that's going to alert Driver of Car, Destructor, and Hooney to his positioning. I'd be surprised if he makes it further than 10 feet without having to engage another defender here. Grenade comes out. Just too short. Flash coming out from Driver, also not going to do what he wants. The response grenade a little too short. And the nades are coming out in full force. Everybody wants a piece of this action. Ooh,
I'm interested to see what Slider's going to do here. I mean, Hooney obviously knows that he's there. I mean, back off and loop around might be the smartest play.
I mean, there's really no time for that. There's only 60 seconds left on the clock. They've got to find their approach here. JH needs to start crashing in on the north and creating a distraction, or at least finding his way up to Hooney Half's position and removing him from the equation. If he could do at least that, and JH comes up from the north side, they have a chance still, but 40 seconds is really not a lot of time to get stuff going with 4 defenders remaining. I'm surprised to see such a slow play from Ember here. I would have thought that this would have been, smokes and rush. Get in there quick. Don't let the defense get set up. JH does make the north courtyard. Hooney not able to catch him in time. Now inside, doesn't quite hit him. Slider finds the refrag, or I suppose just the frag, on 1. But Driver of Car quickly cleans him up. JH is upstairs, but unfortunately, Ember runs out of time, and SpaceForce gets themselves that round win, taking it to 3-0 here in the first map. Bizarre.
I would say that is like the second worst way to lose a round. Running out of time.
Oh, is it getting capped on? Is it the number 1?
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely agree with you there. Running out, time management is a skill just as much as anything, right? Understanding how long it will take for you to traverse a particular distance, right, in any given map, and then accounting for how long it'll take you to clear an enemy or, traverse a series of rooms. It's something that needs to be learned over time, and yeah, in that round in particular, Ember not feeling that time very well and running out just too short. I mean, he could have really had that cap if he was about 10 seconds earlier on that run.
Yeah.
It would have been a good situation for them to cap back, but SpaceForce hangs on and continues their tear through Bazaar. We wait on the round 3 start. There it is. Wasting absolutely zero time. Our boys here, SpaceForce and Ember, getting into round 3. Now we're going to be working with this East Hotel objective, and we will see what SpaceForce is able to do. Can they close out map 1 and leave Ember scoreless going into map 2, which can be a bit of a blow to team morale if you're not well managed. When he finds Quokka quickly on a long shot across the map. I mean, he got him all the way. Look at that. I mean, this... Did he shoot him through that angle right? Yes, he did. Wow, that is quite an angle. All the way through the window and grabbed him on the cross. The rest of this pre-fire not finding any purchase yet. Instructor looking for JH. He manages to just get out in time. JH now needs to be careful in rotating on this position. There is no reason to peek that, especially if a defender knows, or an offender knows that you are there. He's got to be careful, mindful of the nades. I would be surprised if we don't see a frag through that little slot. But we'll see what happens there. Meanwhile, Diesel on the street here looking to challenge. Hailfire is taking up a position at the tank. It would seem that Diesel is acutely aware of his positioning. JH finding Destructor on the north side. Driver finds Hailfire as he approaches. Oh, wow, I didn't even see him coming up there in the east. He does manage to down Hailfire. Should be seen to confirm here in just a moment. Otherwise, this is all information that Ember is going to get. And they have got to keep hanging on if Ember wants to stay in this series in map 1.
Yeah, they definitely have an uphill battle at this point.
Half making his approach through the south as well, and now we're starting to see the news tighten a little bit. Driver of car still not confirming Hailfire at the tank. I'm wondering if he just hasn't heard callouts yet. Definitely know Hailfire has been on comms. I think Goonehalf is shooting at a teammate there. Luckily for him, he did not make contact.
Did I scare you?
I've noticed a few rounds in a row now.
Yeah, blue room.
Micardo, he's just like a statue. He just sits and does not move.
Yeah, Malcarado's definitely one of the more patient players in the league.
Oh, shit.
What do you have?
Double tap him, too. Can't believe that.
Driver of car saying, I did get the double tap. Can't believe it was a double tap. And now we're starting to see the approach. The smokes are coming out. Driver of car pushing up in the far east side. SliderCon's got to be ready for Diesel here on this corner. Diesel should be able to spot him pretty quickly, but Slider's not really eyes on in this hallway. This is really the only angle he has to watch. Driver of car finds C-Max in the far north, and now it's just up to the last two members of Ember, JH and Slider. Diesel goes down to Slider. It's a 2-3 situation. JH on OBJ. Is he going to be ready for the approach from the west and the north now? When he does find Slider on that same exact angle. And now it's 1v3. JH looking to hold on. Keep this bizarre series alive. Oh, Criado coming up for that sneak cap. Not going to find it, but Hooneyhalf on the refrag is going to clean up Bizarre. 4-0. For SpaceForce in that first map. And taking a look at the scores there, Hooneyhalf very much the MVP. 8 kills, 1 death. Malcriado with his cap. A great play by him there, essentially taking all 3 rounds. Almost single-handedly. JH and Slider picking up 4 on their side as well, but a great map 1 play. And now we're going to head over to our next map. And just a quick reminder, so Tanker and Quarantine were our 2 bans. And the second map is going to be
Yeah.
Suburbia. We're gonna be seeing some really great close quarters action. I am excited for this one. Suburbia, it's one of those maps that seems to fluctuate with me. Like some weeks it's like my favorite map, and other weeks I can't stand it and never want to play it. I think it just depends on how well I did on Suburbia that week in general.
Right. Yeah, I find Suburbia to be a very fun map to play, but it's kind of hard to be competitive for me on it because everybody plays it.
Yeah, I mean, it is like that sort of like the map that draws everybody in, like
Right.
the one that reminds them of the of the what was that, Nuketown in Call of Duty
Yep.
or something like that.
Yep.
So it definitely has that draw for a lot of people, but I mean, I don't know. It's a pretty complicated map for being so sort of rigid and I think really what lends to it is the bushes, is those dividing
yeah.
bushes between the lanes and the ability to spot enemies through it. It really turns like what is a real generic run and gun map into this sort of game of cat and mouse. I think that's what keeps it interesting, and I'm wondering if that's how it's always going to be. I want to talk about Onward 2 and Onward on Quest. How will maps like this fare, or will there be different maps or variations on these maps? I'm interested to see. Like, I would be interested to see a, like Suburbia after the fall. All the houses demolished and
Oh. That would be interesting.
blown
I
up
would
cars and
definitely-
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, imagine Quarantine, but Suburbia. Like
Right.
just
Hint, nudge,
yeah,
developer.
yeah. Somebody at Dante for me. But yeah, I mean, it's a good map. I'm excited to see with these two teams. What do you think? I mean, based on what we just saw, do you feel like Ember can still make that comeback? Can they still hold on to this?
I never say never, but like that was hard for them. That was going to be tough to come back from.
Is it now? Is it going to be the defense that's going to win it for? I mean, they're starting on bulk, so obviously they have that sort of defensive advantage off the bat. But do you think it's going to be SpaceForce's offense that wins it for them, or their defense, or vice versa? Is Ember going to win on laurels of defense or offense? What's your take on that?
I always felt like Ember was stronger on offense, so I think if they do take it, it'll be that.
Okay, let's take a look because we're already going, folks. There is no time wasted between these two teams. They are ready on time. Round 1, map 2, Suburbia SpaceForce versus Ember. Let's see if Ember can stay in this series. They need to at least take this round. It's baby steps. You take the first round of the second map, and then you work your way up from there. See how SpaceForce decides to approach this. A heavy eastern push. 4 going
Very
around
heavy.
the burning building there in the southeast. Diesel the only one trying to secure this middle. Ember not playing too aggressive. In fact, 3 still in the far north. Set up in some interesting positions. But now we're seeing SpaceForce's approach here on the east side. Are they going to find any love here? A lot of pre-fire for those common positions behind the fences. Not too surprising here. Shooting have taken a few himself, and now the smoke's coming out across the street a little far. The check nade is good, but the smokes are a little off kilter. And now we're seeing Malcriado on that approach. On that belly approach, is JH going to be ready for it? He would have spotted him. And it looks like
Smoke is just perfectly placed.
I mean, he is going to be outside of it here in just a second, and Slider's the one that's going to find him. JH finds Destructive Driver with car, grabs the refrag onto JH, and now Hooney Half and Driver, the only ones left on this east side. They're making their approach. Slider looking to take down at least one of these members. Diesel finds Hailfire. It's a 3v3, but 2 of the members still in the far north. Gonna have a hard time approaching this. I think Quokka's position is going to be the real decider here. If he's able to catch them on the approach to the red car, I mean, if they're not careful, which I have a feeling they may not be. Huni have fine slider on that porch, and now it's just a 2v3. Driver making the push for the cap. He's got Tab out. He's taking shots onto Huni. C-Max finds Diesel, but Driver's behind the car. The code's getting punched in. Could this be SpaceForce's 2 again? Yes, it is. SpaceForce grabs another 2 points on the opener of map 2 and get themselves up 2-0 again in the series. Wow-wee-wah, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, that was a great play by SpaceForce. That was the right positioning at the right time. They had the correct equipment utilization. They pushed up when they had the advantage. And just catching Ember out, really, in every possible scenario. Driver of car, the one finding that cap.
Yeah, the way to sum that round up was organized chaos.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. And it was, I mean, there was such an overcommitted push, right? Committing 4 to a lane like that is so dangerous. You know, if you're not prepared, and that's one grenade. That really is just, you just toss one over the house and your whole team is gone. But yeah, they did execute it properly. They had the correct rotations. And Ember just not rotating on that objective properly. They had a couple set up, but those few players in the far north, those are such difficult positions to get out of. You know, once you start getting pinned by the offense, it's almost as if SpaceForce became the defenders, right? They were defending their ability to capture the objective. So they were just holding the defenders outside of the range of where they could defend against that cap, and it worked quite well. So now we'll see what SpaceForce is able to do on this defensive play, but so far, I mean, they have just been putting forth a very impressive game. Round 2, map 2.
And
we're seeing a more even split here. 3-2, Diesel tossing out a C4 into the playground. Slider looking for the kills there, not going to find him. JH laying down a little bit of fire. Diesel just barely gets out of there alive. So now, Ember's going to have to be careful with their approach. That playground is quite literally a minefield. Jimmy Half does find Slider on a real tight angle. I mean, this guy on these angles has just been an absolute monster. Does find that one. Now Ember working with 4. Hellfire's going to even it up. 4-4 as he picks off Malfriato on that center porch. Boca and Destructor about to have themselves a little powwow.
looks like Coca knows he's there. Or does he?
I mean, you just have to expect that there's going to be a defender here.
Yeah.
And sticking your gun out like that's going to alert Destructor. The shots come out. Quokka unaware. Destructor able to pick up that kill easily. When he finds C-Max in lane 4, and now it's just up to 2 members of Ember. That's fun to say.
JH peeking the bushes like we spoke about earlier.
Oh yeah, I mean that is textbook here, but we're not seeing that same pre-fire that we saw on the SpaceForce side. SpaceForce was pretty liberal with their bullet usage, trying to clear that position. I'll see if Huni here is able to capitalize on that. I would say lack of forethought. I don't really know what to call that, but pre-fire on Suburbia is quite important. You may feel like it's giving your position away, but more often than not, it's just safety first.
Yeah, I was actually just going to say that, being that they're, 2 to 4, would it be advantageous to pre-fire a particular position?
Huni Half finding JH and answering that question for you. Absolutely, it would be worthwhile in that particular situation. And now Hailfire's got to climb a mountain with basically no equipment. He is 1v4 here in this second map. SpaceForce looking to make it a 3-0 quickly in map 2. And already poised to take the series, but Ember can still manage a comeback here if they find a way to slow down the SpaceForce coordination. They find a way to, drive a wedge in there somewhere, toss a couple nades, maybe bust out a rush play. There's a good set of scenarios that I think could definitely help them out here. A little too cooked, yeah, a little too high, a little too cooked. Not quite gonna find him what he wants, and now he's making the approach here. I mean, he's kind of rocking a hard place, right?
Absolutely. Could get Hooney when he comes around here.
Hooney able to duck those bullets quite nicely. Is gonna look for that refrag. Doesn't quite catch it. Hailfire should now know that he is not caught that member out. Now we're seeing Destructor rotate on the far side there, looking to find himself a nice little flank. SpaceForce getting a little aggressive. Not surprising based on the player count. They definitely have an accurate count of downed players. Hailfire recommitting to that lane 4 push is going to get him punished by Diesel on the porch, and SpaceForce goes up 3-0 in map 2. Ember really on the back foot here. I mean, this is make or break.
Yeah, there's no room for error.
This would be their first point on the board for the series so far. If they pick up this bulk win. It's going to be interesting to see how they deal with this. You got to shake it off, you know?
Absolutely. You can't let that get in your head.
That is the key. Always, you know, put it in the past. It's already happened. Focus on the next round. That's what they need to do here. And rally. Rally in a big way. If they can pull out a win here, I mean, you know, anything goes on map 3. Do want to thank everybody in the chat for hanging out with us. Do appreciate you checking us on out. There is a match going on over on Master League 1, or just Master League. It doesn't have a number after it. I always say 1, but it's not there. There's a match going on over there. You should definitely multi-twitch it up. Watch both games if you can. But Knight and Trip over there bringing you SMC and... Ooh, I don't know who the second team is. Sorry. Is it SMC even? You know what? I don't know. Do I even work for this league? So. Okay. And I apologize. I did say it was Trip casting it, but obviously, being a member of SMC, it is TFH that is doing the casting. Todd with Nightfire over on that channel, but we'll see here. It doesn't matter what's going on over there, because what we got going on over here is a real frickin' nail biter. Round 3, map 2. Ember needs to, yeah, exactly. Need to get this bread, Hailfire. They need to find themselves at least this round win to stay in the series. The objective is on tank, and we're seeing the smokes come out in force from SpaceForce. See if they're going to quickly push up on that. Quokka does find Destructor in lane 1. Driver of car now honed in on his position, looking to get himself a pick. Hooneyhalf not finding anything with the pre-fire. Malcriado and Diesel pushing up through playground, starting to make their approach towards objective. Driver of car does find Quokka there in lane 1. And now it's an even 1-1. Slider finds Malcriado in the smoke, but Diesel with the quick refrag. Gonna bust pad out. Hailfire finds Hooney as he comes through lane 3. And now it's just 2 members of SpaceForce. For 3 members of Ember. C-Max up in the window. Not gonna find purchase. Diesel's gonna grab himself the kill. JH gets the quick refrag as he makes the approach to the objective, and it's a 2v1 for driver of car, who is now, yeah, tucked in here in lane 1, and he evens it up 1-1. Can he find himself the last kill? Hailfire very far off objective. This could be really dangerous.
Yeah, not a good position to be in.
I wonder if he's looking for a long angle to watch this from, but I mean, it's not there. I will tell you right now, that is not the angle you want to be at.
No. I mean, driver of car could run out there and cap right now, and there would be, you know, it would not be good for Ember.
Yeah, I mean, it's... I really don't understand the need to hunt in this particular situation. Like, you don't really know enemy count. You want to get your eyes on the OBJ. as quickly as possible. Even if you die, I mean, obviously you're not going to win if you die in this scenario. But there's no reason to be all the way in their spawn. I mean, this really is just driver of cars. You know, he can just walk out there, make a cup of coffee, plop down the tablet, you know, just hang out.
It's almost as if driver of car is waiting for Hailfire.
Well, it might pay off if Hailfire makes the appropriate amount of noise. Driver is in the defensive position, and Hailfire is now doing the offensive play of pushing through lane 1. Luckily, hasn't spotted him yet. I mean, if I was driver, I wouldn't be looking at lane 1 either. What would a defender be doing all the way over there? And now he's checking lane 2. This is the longest I've ever seen a 1v1 without anyone near the objective. And there's the footsteps. Driver of car should hear that. He peeks the window. Can he get the shots? He does indeed. Driver of car finds Hailfire in lane 2. And SpaceForce is going to get themselves the map and the series there. The score so far, 8-0 between these two teams. Ember not able to put anything on the board just yet. When you have a driver of car, the MVPs of that particular round. Wow, wow, wow. I mean, that's really all I've got to say. That was such a surreal final round for map 2. I don't really understand the thought process behind a lot of what just happened, but that is not for me to know, my friends. It's for me to know that SpaceForce was able to commandingly take the first 2 maps away from Ember and have now solidified their series. I will tell you right now, I did not even close to expecting that kind of a scoreline. I definitely thought it was going to be a lot closer between these two teams, but SpaceForce really just on the ball. And now we're going into our third map pick, which is going to be Cargo. Nice short map, nice quick plays. This is going to be somewhere where I think we're going to be seeing a whole lot of aggression from at least one of the teams. I mean, I would hope so. There's really almost nothing worse than a 6-minute cargo round.
Oh, I've been there for that, and I agree.
It can be a real struggle to sit through that sometimes.
A lot of times when there's really nothing to lose but MMR, I see teams totally turn around on the last map.
And I think that's a big part of the game, and I found that, even with our team, with Blaze, we found that having fun is a big part of winning in a lot of these matchups.
Absolutely. You gotta stay loose. You gotta not take it so serious.
Yeah, I think that could be a real problem for teams looking to be competitive, but sort of still finding their stride. We've seen a lot of teams have that same problem. We do see that aggression that we were talking about. Hailfire and Quokka, Malcriado and Driver of Car all within 20 feet of each other here in the center. Who's going to do the peaks first? Malcriado checking the corner here, finds the shoulder of Hailfire, going to take him down. A Driver of Car rushing. Quokka does find him as well. And he is down, but not out. Just like that, Ember is down 2 members. Slider looking for Hooney as he rushes in, does catch him out. Malcriado going to get this revive. And there it is. Slider should be reacting to the sounds he's hearing here. But a little too slow on this defensive approach. Malcriado and Driver of Car going to get themselves out of danger. Went a little southern there for a second. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I think if Slider could get sort of into the middle quietly enough, he could really wreak some havoc on SpaceForce.
It is time for them to make that approach. Destructor finds C-Max. Malcriado's got pad out. I feel like I've said that 1,000 times, but he's on it. JH looking, finds one. Oh, an unfortunate team kill there. Oh, Destructor was holding the grenade. Stops Malcriado from capping for his own team, but Destructor is on the objective. Doesn't matter. No one from Ember is on the objective, and SpaceForce finds themselves a 3rd cap in this series. 2-0 in map 3. Unbelievable. We have started all 3 maps with a cap.
Exactly.
Holy
That's a first for me.
cow.
I've never seen that.
It is definitely impressive. And now this has turned into a rout. An absolute rout by SpaceForce. Just completely demolishing Ember's defense and offense with pretty much no problem. You know, as the analyst of the desk, Xandria,
Yeah.
what should Ember do different? Like, what is it that you think would have made this a closer series? What do you think the key mistakes that are being made are?
It's so hard. It just seems like no matter what they did, it didn't work. And you know, they had aggression, they had slow, methodical play. Maybe just be a little more coordinated and be able to keep up with that rapid pace. It's the only thing I can really think of.
I do agree. Yeah, I think slow play has a place in the league. I think it has a place in the game's meta. I don't think the slow play. It doesn't feel practiced. It feels patchwork right now from Ember. It feels like SpaceForce has their lanes, has their cover, understands where their teammates are, and I feel like Ember is just kind of seat of the pantsing it, you know, really just kind of running out here and there. I mean, just perfect example when he finds Quokka as he approaches the middle. Hellfire and Malcriado do trade out in the west, but Ember already at a disadvantage, 3-4 on this map, and now the defense all set up, all watching the various points of ingress. We'll see if Ember's able to find themselves any kind of leeway here.
Like something I'm just seeing right now. Last round, SpaceForce, all 3 of them went to the midline of the map in unison. And I look at Ember, and it's all kind of jagged and like offset.
Yeah, like Quokka's push to the center there doesn't make any sense without, you know, without somebody else to back you up. This game is all about those refrags, right? Finding that refrag opportunity. Slider finding his way past the defense quickly. A nice little nade there. Picks up a defender for him. Destructor does find one that should give Slider the opportunity to get the refrag on him as well. When he finds C-Max, it's just up to Slider here. If he can catch Destructor, no, unfortunately not. He's looking for the shots. They're not landing, and now SpaceForce has to be careful with this rotation. A botched nade there from the Destructor, not going to find him. Slider giving up on the cross to the objective, coming to the building with Hoonihaf does find him. Now it's a 1v2. Driver looking for the refrag here, but no, Slider continues his tear through the defense. Finishes him off, and now it's a 1v1. And now the defender, the last defender Destructor set up in a pretty common position. Obviously, Slider not aware of the rotation, so he's going to be thinking he's still behind these barrels. A little surprised to see him give up on the OBJ like that, though. That was a perfect opportunity to suppress green barrels, make the cross, get it onto the container side, and just get that cap. But I think now, yeah, he's just going to walk into Destructor's line of fire if he's not careful. Oh, he needs to turn around soon. Destructor is going to be able to spot him out. And there it is. Destructor finds Slider. SpaceForce grab themselves yet another round, and the rout continues. SpaceForce looking to close this series out with a 12-0 score.
Yeah, I find a lot of times, especially in those 1v1, 1v2 situations, anytime you fire or make any noise, you have to do a hard rotation.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you gain no benefit as a defender by having the offense know where you are. You know, there's just nothing in it for you. You constantly have to be moving once your position is given away.
Or even on the offense side, if the defense knows where you're coming from, that's not good.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, and it's something we haven't really seen from Ember so far, is these really key rotations. They seem to be, I don't know, a little disjointed, like we've been talking about. Very odd series so far, but SpaceForce clearly the stronger squad out here on the field today, having their way with Ember's offenses and defenses. Little to no issue. We're getting into round 3 now of map 3. SpaceForce looking to close this out early. Hooney finds Quokka very, very quickly. With that quick peek, JH is going to find another Diesel and Hailfire trade out. Malcriado gets the unfortunate team kill onto driver of car, and JH grabs Malcriado on that outward push, but Destructor cleans up Hailfire. JH not ready for Destructor either. He's going to die to him as well, and now SliderCon and C-Max, the only 2 remaining members of Ember and Scratch. That Slider is out of the way. SpaceForce is now 3-1 on this offensive push. And Ember's fate is all but sealed here unless C-Max can keep them alive and try to scrape a little bit of MMR off the table here that's left. C-Max does find one.
And again, no rotation.
My gun disappeared.
When you have
Just
having
to say that, he rotates.
Hooney half having a little bit of gun issues? Says his gun disappeared? I can still see it, Hooney. I can still see it. Smoke's now coming out. And you see Hooney there throws the smoke and rotates out. And, you know, from that position that he was in. Check nade coming out from C-Max. Not going to help. But he is checking the smoke. I mean, this is really what needs to happen every time there's smoke on the objective. Is you're in it, you're checking it, you're throwing your equipment at it. You never know, right? He's only had eyes on half of the map. So, not really sure where the offense is going to be coming from, but let's look through the eyes of C-Max. Oh, hello. There we go. As he looks to defend this last round, potentially last round, versus SpaceForce. Trying to keep Ember alive, get them on the board here in map 3.
You know, something I always think about when people throw smoke and not capitalize on that smoke, the only other effect that can have is that it induces stress on the defenders and just kind of rile them up a little bit, I suppose.
Oh, it creates uncertainty. I mean, really, all you need to do is plant the doubt, right? Did they make it? Did they make that cross? You know, like, that can drive some people insane. They'll make it, it'll make people rotate. It'll make people do some really weird stuff sometimes. It's a great tool. See if C-Max can find this kill here. He's creeping out towards Diesel. Diesel had the pad out. Not able to get the gun out fast enough. C-Max does find him. So now it's just a 1v1. Hooney versus C-Max. See if he's able to clean this up. Hooney looking for that key rotation and a sweet little flash coming out towards C-Max. Does land. The frag goes a little too long. Not able to clean him up. And now we'll see who wins in this 1v1. Ember looking to stay alive in map 3. Hooney looking for the kill. C-Max just rotating out in time.
Did Hooney see him?
I'm not sure. It didn't seem like it, but he is making that approach now. He's coming in on the backside. C-Max needs to keep his eyes on the prize, and the prize is, of course, the objective here. He'd be able to spot him out. He's almost in pad distance. C-Max needs to be checking this objective. I don't think he's going to do it, though. Footsteps maybe giving him away to Hooney.
Yeah, he's a little too noisy.
Hooney's still not, I don't think he's heard him just yet. And no pad has come out. He's looking for the kill win here. Oh, and they just miss each other through that red container. They've completely switched sides. What is going on in this game today?
This has been ridiculous.
I have cast a lot of games, and I have never seen some of these situations ever. I mean, Hooney had the cap. It was over. It was double over. He has pad out now. C-Max maybe spotted him. He's got the gun out now, and C-Max trades. But unfortunately, Hooney's going to grab the win first. And SpaceForce is going to take the series 12-0. What a series it was between these two teams. Holy cow. Definitely.
The opposite of our predictions.
That is quite the opposite of our predictions, indeed. Ooh, my scores on the scoreboard were wrong. So silly. It wasn't 5-0 on Superheavy. It was 4-0. Crazy. Crazy stuff. All right, I fixed that. My apologies to the folks at home. I'm sure you're all yelling at your screen. But yeah, Xandria, what do you think? What's your thoughts on this series we just watched?
I think there was so much aggression and so much controlled chaos from SpaceForce that Ember just was not able to compensate and keep up with it, and it just completely overwhelmed them.
I agree. I'd love to dissect it for a long time, but there was a lot of interesting choices there by Ember that did not pan out for them in the end. There's a lot to work on there. They'll have the tape to review. SpaceForce, clearly the superior force out there today. Those are some great plays, some great angles by Hooney Half, some great equipment utilization all across the board. They played almost like a mistake-free game. They had a couple of team kills here and there, but nothing really egregious. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's I think the game says it all, pretty much.
Yeah.
But yeah, this has been SpaceForce versus Ember, brought to you by Noman and Xandria, your VRML caster. We'd like to quickly thank VR Master League for giving us this format for our teams to play in. We do appreciate that. I'd like to thank our moderators, Dakin, Sleepy, Mama Verds, and Cobbs. Our sponsors, VR Cover and ProTube. Thank you guys for all you do for the VRML. And especially to our viewers and community. Thank you guys for tuning in, spending all this time with us. We really appreciate it. If you're interested in becoming a part of the league in any fashion, the links are below in the Twitch window. There's also links to our Discord where you can get more information from all of the people I just mentioned. You can be, a player, a caster. You can register your own team, really whatever you want. It's a great community, great folks doing great things all the time. So definitely check that out. If you're interested in sponsoring the VRML or donating, do check out the VR Master League website. There are some links there for donations and contact info. And if you have any feedback, we'll be producing a feedback form for everybody to fill out on how the casters are doing and any suggestions you guys may have. So we'll be rolling that out pretty soon. You'll be seeing that at the in the links below as well. But we appreciate all your support, and thank you guys for tuning in. I believe, and let me just take a quick gander here. Yes, you can tune in tomorrow, Saturday, July 13th at 5 o'clock Pacific time for another SpaceForce matchup, SpaceForce versus Silent But Deadly. That's going to be casted by Triple Nipple over on Master League Not, I guess. There's no one in it. But over on the main Master League channel, you can check that out. But that is going to do it from us here at the casting desk. Xandria, anything to add before we sign off?
No, I think you covered it.
Perfect. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in again, and we appreciate it very, very much. See you guys tomorrow. Have a great night.
Have a good night, everybody.